They fed us the data to say cholesterol is the culprit. The bad man for cardiovascular disease, the utensils we use is contributing to retaining the nutritional value, or you can have a 99 problems till you have a health problem. This is the only body we are getting. Most of us are behaving like we have another spare kept in the closet. The narrative has to change there. I will give my body what my body wants. It's an 80-20 rule, I would say. When you stop listening to the beeps, then it becomes an alarm, and then you need a nutritionist or a professional.
Hello and welcome to BergCast, a podcast where we speak about food and nutrition. I'm Ishita, your host, a consultant nutritionist, and today we have with us renowned nutritionist Pooja Makhija, author, entrepreneur. It's our absolute pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Pooja, may I call you that?
Please, of course. That's just what you call me.
Lovely. Pooja, I'm a nutritionist as well. I do a lot of behavioral nutrition, intuitive eating. I work with a lot of children. So as a nutritionist, I'm so curious to know your backstory. How did it start? What inspired you to do nutrition? Please tell us.
Well, it was kind of perhaps a mother's foresight that put me into nutrition, because my mom just said, that's what you should be. And back then there weren't as many nutritionists or courses or none of that. But my mom said, full day you ask me questions about who told you milk has calcium. No, because she sold me bananas all her life saying it has calcium. And I told her, who told you it has calcium? But tell me, how do you know? And because back then we didn't have Google or ChatGPT to tell us whether mama is saying the truth or not. So she's like, but I'm telling you this gives you vitamin C. But I said, how do you know? How would we know? Things like that. I don't know. That's what she says. You were always curious to know why this, why not. So as a path, she said, I think you should become a nutritionist. And her hidden glee in that was, she's like, beta, everyone will call you doctor, but you're not actually a doctor, and you don't have to give up your entire life or personal family life, because she thought doctors sacrifice a lot of their family life for the service of others. And here I will still be a doctor, but without compromising on my family life. So she said, that's a perfect thing for you, and the rest is history.
And not too many people know actually that when we do study nutrition, there is so much of science involved.
Of course.
Biochemistry, microbiology, so many things involved.
We study human biology and chemical bio, all of it as a little bit, perhaps as much as medical school. Right? Because we are studying whole human body physiology to understand where the nutrients go and what cycle and which Krebs cycle and which ATP and which nutrient is required for which conversion. So yes, we study a lot about the human body. We're not qualified to be doctors, but we are definitely food doctors. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course, with the focus of our course being food related and nutrition related, we know Pooja as this amazing nutritionist doing such a great job on social media, if I may say so. Spreading awareness. Who is Pooja outside the nutrition clinic?
She's quite an ambivert, I would say that. Most people think I would be an extrovert. She's not. I won't say I'm an introvert, but I'm an ambivert. I love my silence. I love just quietly reading. Things people don't know about me would be messy. Yeah, I don't look it, but yes, I could be. I'm just a traveler, perhaps. That's my mission. When I started working, the objective to get that money in was work that much that you can plan a holiday, and then finish it off, and then again work to make the fund, and again travel. So yes, that's in my heart. Yes, I'm a happy reader, traveler, messy girl. Yeah.
Wow.
That's me.
Oh my God. How nice. And it's so beautiful to see that other side of you that a lot of us don't know about.
Yeah.
As a mother yourself, I'm curious to know, how has that impacted your practice? So whether that is speaking with mothers, other mothers, or speaking with children, or does it make an impact? Does it not?
Well, I think my entire professional career molded as life molded me. That's how even my books followed, actually. So first I was the nutritionist who was helping people lose weight or help conquer diseases. Thus came Eat Delete, right? How to make people get off the cycle of this continuous weight gain, weight loss, weight gain, weight loss. And then I had children. My children taught me that teaching them young was so simple. So obviously the lingo of a nutritionist mother is very different from perhaps someone who doesn't know the knowledge. Okay, so things like, I had a call from a mum once when my younger one was about 4 or 5 years old, and she's like, Mrs. Makhija, I'd like to bring to your notice that your daughter has told my daughter that she should be eating green chilies every day with her meal because she sneezes a lot, and green chilies will help her stop sneezing. And is that true? And your daughter seems to be giving advice to children, and then it sticks to my daughters. And I said, sorry, but she just sees me do that, and she's seen me tell her dad that the green chili helps you conquer the sneezing, so she's heard it. So kids are like these little molds, right? Like, we're just, what they see, what they hear, and how they are talked to, they go and represent it. So my daughters used to teach other children to eat fruits and say, you won't have cheeks like Snow White if you don't eat fruit. So when I realized that if I can teach my children and they can be the propagators of that to their peers, and if you teach them young, then why should it be just the privilege of a nutritionist to teach her mom? I should be able to help other mums teach them, their children, when they are young. So I wrote Eat Delete Junior. It was a parental guide from birth till age 15. Okay, every mom can read it, and every mom can teach her child on why this, why not, why this, why not. And then my kids became big. And then they were teenagers, and they didn't want to listen to mama because mama knows nothing, right? And Google knows better, and DIY is the way to go. So that's when I realized that teenagers today really don't want to be told. They like to do things themselves. So I wrote N for Nourish, which is the first of its kind in India. It was the first nutrition book addressed to children for them to read, 10 years plus, for them to read about what is balanced nutrition, why carbs are important, what happens when you drink aerated waters or eat too much sugar or don't drink ample water. So I would say that my entire journey of being a nutritionist evolved as life evolved me.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I then realized that teaching kids is so much more fulfilling, so much simpler than teaching adults. Right? Teaching adults is like banging your head on a wall. They'll do it till they pay you, and then the minute you turn around, they'll go back to old eating habits.
Because you're educating the children as well, right?
Yeah.
Like when you start young, what I see a lot in clinic is also that they're absorbing that information as life information. They're not absorbing it as, oh, XYZ told me to have it and XYZ will happen.
They're not unlearning a previous habit to relearn a new one, right? They're just learning it right. And we do teach our children everything when they're little, right? Like manners and languages and etiquettes and how to talk to Dadaji versus how to talk to your friend. We do teach everything young. So teach them nutrition young. Teach them what food does for you, how your body responds with it, what happens when you don't. Then they will know how to nurture and take care of this body and will not need people like us when they grow up, because they will know better on how to listen to themselves and listen to their bodies and eat right from when they're little.
Yeah. And I mean, that reminds me of your initiative of Nourish, right? And I love the word Nourish.
I know.
Because it is not imposing. It is not something that, oh, you have to do it XYZ way, but it comes from a place of absolute self-care.
Yeah.
And that's what we want nutrition to be as nutritionists as well. We want to empower our clients to be able to take care of themselves more than anything else and nourish themselves.
Yeah. Nourish is just like, it's such a soft way to say, love your body, love your food. So nourish, and then the little line under that is love food, love life. Okay? Most people will come and sit across my clinic and say, but I'm a foodie. I love my khana. I said, my motto says that. You must love your food. Okay, because that is the only one thing we are voluntarily putting inside our body. Right? Even the air that we breathe is not in our control.
Yeah.
Right? AQIs are soaring, but we are not leaving and dropping our homes and running to the mountains. So even the air that we breathe is not in our hands. But the one action we do voluntarily to nurture this magnificent body God has given us. Like, you have to marvel at what He has created. How beautifully does everything work, from our hand-eye coordination. In a nanosecond, I thought of this. My hand moved towards it. My words came out of my mouth. It's just this body. The more you think about it, the sad truth is that you realize how marvelously your body works silently only when something actually goes wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When you're sick
When
and
you're
like
sick.
your nose is stuffed and you're like, oh my
I
God.
can't breathe, huh? Like we take even something as simple as breathing. So, like, every time I'm breathing, like, one stuffy nose, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe. Let's say one kidney doesn't work. Oh, we have to go. It's just, that's when, they say, right, that you can have a 99 problems till you have a health problem.
Right.
And then you just have one problem, right? But that's the sad truth. We are waiting for people to realize that only when health is not right is where we have to look to food or take care of yourself.
Right.
That's the narrative has to change there.
Right.
Okay, the narrative is like healthcare is optional. Meeting a nutritionist is when I have a goal.
Or a privilege.
It's a privilege.
Yeah.
Or if I have a goal, a wedding, or I want to fit into that little black dress, or my old shadi ka lehenga.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have an objective. And then if I am resourceful enough to have the money to afford a nutritionist or a trainer, that's when I will prioritize food and nutrition. That's where the narrative is wrong. That's what we have to change. That self-care is not an option. Okay? It's not an option. It is something as important as hygiene. Is having a bath an option? Okay, if I have access to water or not, I have the time or not, I'm running late or not. It's not about, when I want to look good, I'll have a bath.
But speaking about self-care, right, then I'm curious to know your views. We know diet culture in its evil glory, if I may say so. And I feel like, you tell me actually, how has diet culture impacted self-care in the sense that is it taking away from us going back to the basics and just taking care of ourselves? What is the impact of diet culture?
I think that's a very personal way to look at it, right? Okay, diet culture, I would think it's a good thing because we're creating some noise, right? See, up until our parents' time, there was no such thing as a nutritionist or diet should be like that, or we ate what was in the thali and what nani dadi ate, we ate, The story went on. It was not anything that had to be focused on. So, okay, I would think that the diet culture is a good thing because we have left our roots. Okay, we are wandering wherever the light is brighter. So, I think this show is good because it's highlighting ki suno, take care. Yeah, I would say that there is abundance of noise. Okay, there is just empty vessels. There's just too much noise. See, basically anything in life is what you take out of it, right? So if you want to look at it and say, okay, since there is so much shosha about your diet, let me open up my mind and say, मैं कैसे खा रही हूँ, मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, can I do better, should I pick something from here? So everything depends primarily on what you take from that situation or that culture or that hype.
Yeah, you're right, because some people would perhaps see it as, okay, let me then look at this one thing called health.
Yeah.
Or some people may take it in the wrong way and may actually end up struggling with their relationship with food. And what, according to you, is a good or a healthy relationship with food? And what advice would you give, especially the teens who are just about navigating their relationship with food?
I think your relationship with food has to be just like you have relationships with friends. We all have friends, and food is your friend. Food is not your enemy. So a diet culture that categorizes a category of foods as your enemy is the wrong one, because no food is your enemy. Okay, all foods are your friends, but just like friends, we have different category of friends. Okay, we have best friends that we must talk to or meet every day. We have good friends. We meet them when we meet them. We love meeting them, but we don't meet them every day.
Yeah.
And then we have acquaintances. Mile to mile, otherwise forgotten. But when I meet you, I'll meet you with a happy heart and a happy high, right? So foods are just like that. You have foods that you eat every day. You shouldn't do without. Okay, because these are your best friends. They nurture you. They give you the strength. They give you the twinkle in your eye and the shine in your hair. And they give you the energy to be you. Then there are good friends. Now, good friends are the not so good foods, so to say, that I meet. Like, for example, restaurant khana or, indulgent khana that kabhi kabar, khaya to khaya, mile to mile. And then there are acquaintances like alcohol, aerated waters. The lesser I meet, the better. But if I meet, okay, hi, hello.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Correct.
Yeah.
They are so the relationship has to be such. But sadly, in perhaps the lack of education or too much information, everyone's muddled up their best friends, good friends, and acquaintances. Acquaintances ko best friends bana diya hai, best friends ko piche chhod diya hai.
Yeah.
So that's where we have to do. We just have to rearrange it. Sit down and say, okay, culturally, this is my khana. So these have to be my best friends, and I must love them and meet them and enjoy them. Then, which are my good friends, which I meet sometimes. And then decide for you which are your acquaintances and keep them apart. But at the end of the day, when the relationship to all of it is positive, you are taking care of the psychological aspect of fear of food, all the other food disorders that we see, all the I won't eat to be size 0. Because why has all that happened? Is because we've made food the enemy. Either food is your lover,
Bestie.
your lover,
Yeah.
or then food is your enemy. Right? So to teenagers, the best way I explain it to my teenagers is love foods that love you back. Simple. Okay, because no one wants to be in this toxic love affair, right? Where you love someone, but that someone is not loving you back. Such relationships are hollow and draining and don't give you the joy and the happiness. Okay? So love foods that can love you back.
See, that's how I know that you're an author for teens and children as well as mothers, because this is such a beautiful metaphor that you came up with.
Thank you.
How cool. Very cool.
So, and then most people will be like, how do I know which foods love me back? It's not rocket science. You don't need a nutritionist to know that, right? It's simple. Ask a 2-year-old kid. Like, they know what is healthy food and junk food. It's taught to them even in toddler schools, right? So, you love an apple, the apple loves you back. You love a chocolate, does it love you back? So
you can make it an acquaintance, meet it once in a while.
Sometimes you don't have to be in a love affair. Oh, Pooja, the chocolate was calling me. I have heard that just so many times. But that laddu had my name written on it. That is a relationship where the food has the power over you, not you having the power over the food.
And we always talk about that, even when we speak about it in behavioral nutrition. We look at it as us wanting to be on top of the food, to be able to be like, okay, I will eat X, Y, Z today, or I'll have the chocolate, I won't have the chocolate, rather than the food being able is the only thing that's controlling us and saying, oh, I have to eat this and all of those.
So the way I explain it to my girls is like, in every friendship, there will be always one person who's the more dominant one. In every relationship even, right? There'll be always one person who has a tad bit of an upper hand, right? Somehow the plans always go according to Jo usne bola. So in the same way, food and you is that kind of a rishta where you have the upper hand. Yeah, we can get along, they can be there, but whether I eat you or not is decided by me and not by you.
You said something about cultural foods, and very often there's this misconception that to be able to achieve health, we have to abandon cultural foods or traditional foods. How true is that, number one? And in this modern world, can we still kind of cook and eat traditional foods?
I think that's the only thing we have to do. My entire cry from the Eiffel Tower is that if we studied it, then if there was a best diet in the world, it would be our Indian diet. Our Indian thali is technically, nutritionally, physiologically, chronobiologically, हर form में one of the best plates that the world should follow. Our Indian ancestors and our grandparents and our Vedas and our rishis, they followed nutritional science without knowing nutrition science. They didn't need a PhD or a MSc in nutrition to be advocating how our plate should look, what should it be divided, the division between the carbs and the proteins and the fats, what you should eat first, everything that today's science is telling us, our ancestors have already done it. Today the West is studying it, okay, making categoric studies and saying, oh, curcumin is marvelous, okay. So now we have turmeric lattes and turmeric sabuns and whatever, okay. But haldi was part and parcel of our everyday kitchen. It was our toolbox, medicine toolbox. We would put haldi on a wound. Our knowledge of the human body, of medicine, of nutrition, everything is the best, I would say. Okay. Now it is taking the West to tell us that look at India, look at yoga, look at curcumin, look at family values, look at the fact that we cook our meals every day. Okay. In COVID, they came up. It was hilarious, but there was someone I really looked up to, who created content in the West, and they're like, if there's one thing COVID has taught us, one thing that we must take back from COVID, is that we must cook our own meals. I was like, okay.
ये तो हम रोज करते हैं.
ये तो हमारा रोना धोना है. Oh God, आज क्या बनाएंगे? Right?
Yeah,
The question, आज lunch में क्या बनेगा? Huh? But that is what we do culturally every single day. So what we have to do is remember our roots and stick with it.
But with the influx of, say, new and modern cookware coming in as well, can we do that? Can we stick to our roots? Are we able to make the same kind of dals that Dadi used to make?
Yeah, why not? See, what we have to do is we have to evolve with points and entries of where there was perhaps some error. Okay? As important and vital as nutrition, the tool for it to enter us is our cookware. Right? So as much as I lay emphasis on my iron content or my vitamin C or ensuring that I have to get the two of them together to be able to absorb each other, but then how does that enter me? Through food that is cooked, and the utensil that's cooking it is literally the madhyam to give me that nurture, right? Now, if there were, like for example, cast iron, right? Marvelous, fabulous, generational wealth transferred on, bravo. But if we did use a utensil which we were trying to be wise with because we didn't want to fuel our coal, and so we used aluminium because it was a better conductor of heat, so we used that. But then today science and research and studies are telling us perhaps that wasn't the wisest choice. Then changing that, see, where there's science, I don't think it's difficult for people to understand. There's a funda, right? That's my belief. You can prove it to me with a study, I will believe you. You tell me hearsay, someone says that this is a good thing to do. I was like, who is that someone, right? Right? But if science is telling you, yes, there are two different metals, two different conductors of heat. One which is leaching a few toxins into your food, and that whole process and science and funda of nurture is being wasted in a utensil that's not, or a non-stick that's leaching God knows what into your khana, then we have to learn how to change. Sometimes it's difficult, but I think when explained with science, even Dadimas understand, okay, because what is right, we retain. If there were a few tweaks we need to make here and there, yes, we must. Absolutely. Because otherwise, why are we doing this entire science of nurture?
Yeah, absolutely. And does cookware then have an impact on our nutrition?
Of course. Yeah. Everything, right? Yeah. Because because we do know cooking time and heat, takes away a little bit of our vitamins and minerals, because these are water soluble and air soluble, and therefore, and too much heat is going to kill it. So if we are going to continue cooking and cooking and cooking, it's just perhaps a little bit of fiber and not the nutrition. So of course, how the utensils we use is contributing to retaining the nutritional value or eliminating it altogether. So depending on what you're using, which utensils you're using, what you're leaching into your khana, I think that is something that, see, like we said, sometimes there are things that you do on automatic mode.
Right.
Do we really realize when we remove the kadai and start cooking that I took care that this meal should be balanced in protein and carbs and everything? But then my method of cooking, did I just waste all of it? All the effort taken to go to the nutritionist or read a book or follow an advice, but then is my utensil not using the means to give it to me? Right. So I think creating a little bit of awareness in this. See, because that is it. Now we just need to create awareness. A, awareness for nutrition. B, awareness ke is your utensil something that you should be looking into, right, or ke hum automatic mode mein bas khana banaye ja rahe hain.
That's why we're having these conversations. Yeah. That's why we have BergCast, to have sensible conversations. Correct. About nutrition and food and lifestyle. Red meat, right? A lot of people, there's so much talk about, say, cholesterol and diet, and we know that dietary cholesterol may or may not barely have an impact on our health and body. Eggs, egg white khao, egg yolk mat khao, all of these things. And then, of course, your gym instructor has another view on it and will say, ye karo and wo karo. Please debunk this.
Okay, so we have to evolve with how science evolves, yeah? And they fed us the data to say cholesterol is the culprit. Right? They said cholesterol gives you a heart attack and cholesterol is something you have to worry about, because they wanted to introduce the bad man for cardiovascular disease. They targeted it as cholesterol. And then they wanted to introduce a drug to us so that 50% of the world takes it. So they reduced the normal from 300 milligrams per DL to 170 so that they reduced it to half so that 50% of the population could be put on statins, which can then give us 10 other health problems. But sorry, let's not, the big pharma and me are not the best of friends, but yes. But the idea here is that cholesterol isn't something to be worried about. They targeted the wrong guy, or made us target the wrong guy, because they were like, let's cut dietary cholesterol. But today when we study the human body, we know that 85% of our cholesterol is made in our liver by us.
Yes.
Now, would our magnificent body make something that's bad for us? We need cholesterol in every aspect of life, right? Our vitamin D absorption has gone down is because we are not having enough cholesterol because it's bound to statins and thrown out of our body. Cholecalciferol derived from cholesterol, right? Our sex hormones, progesterone, estrogen, everything requires cholesterol. Okay, why do we have the pandemic with so many problems of hormonal issues? Is because our diets are skewed to think cholesterol is the culprit, right? There is no such thing as cholesterol is bad for you. So yes, we can enjoy in moderation all foods, including red meat, including egg yolks. And yes, my take on this has also evolved. If you asked me this 5 and 10 years ago, I would have also said the same narrative as what was taught to me. But today when we study the science, we study this, go back to the tests and the studies that they have done and the clinical analogies that they're giving us, it just doesn't add up. And cholesterol is not the culprit. So yes, feel free to enjoy see, it also depends on the style of cooking. If you're going to make your red meat oozing with more oil and floating around, that's the problem, not the red meat per se. But the other fight that I usually have is that how we listen to trainers. Okay? Now, if I were to tell you, darling, that a bicep is not done like this, but is done like this or like that, would you listen to me?
No.
You'd be like, dude, you're a nutritionist, talk nutrition. But for some reason, when your trainer tells you that you must not eat carbs for dinner, or you must eat this to help yourself better in the gym, for some reason, everybody listens. We have to again change that narrative that your trainer is trained to train you in exercise. Please listen to him in exercise. Don't listen to me. But Don't take unsolicited advice from a professional who has no authority to give that to you. The fault is actually not his, the fault is yours. If I were to give you dermatologist gyan, then it's not my fault. I just want to show that I know it all. It's the consumer's fault who is listening to a professional who has no authority to talk in that area. So trainers don't have to give us nutritional ideas or any tips. They must train us, and they do. Please do your job and do a good job of it. But it's wrong on our part to listen to an advice from who's not a professional. So please, we must say that, stop listening to professionals, which is not their area.
Absolutely. We need degrees and more degrees to prove ourselves as dietitians and nutritionists. There are many regulatory bodies also now.
I wish there would be more regulatory bodies, and actual nutritionists could say that they have the authority to give you nutrition. Here, someone losing 20 kilos has become a nutritionist just because she lost the way. Now she can show the way.
Yeah. But we're getting there slowly and steadily. So, yeah. My next topic is something that I feel the entire crew they really want to know about this, is the fact that in India, we always have, at some point or the other, wedding season. Wedding season nahi hota hai, so there's some, festive season or something. There is this common belief that ye shaadi ke baad, I will stop this, I'll stop sugar, I'll stop having fried food, I'll stop this, I'll stop that, I'll eliminate everything, I'll cut down on everything. But this shaadi to let me enjoy. What I want to touch on this particular topic is that we know that it creates that bit of like, if we know that we're going to deprive ourselves later, it leads to us over consuming those very foods that we said, oh, I'll cut that down and cut that. I'll be like, acha, but now let me eat it all till my heart's content. The Last Supper effect, right? Could you please talk about that?
Okay. So this is something I counsel all my clients about, okay? Because the fact here is food is just fuel, okay? If I were to tell you that because it's Diwali or it's a wedding season, I'm just going to put extra petrol in my car, although the fuel tank says nothing, too full hai. But because I am celebrating, because I am at a wedding, because it's Diwali, because it's Christmas, I'm just going to put more and more and more and more fuel into my car when my car doesn't need it. What will happen to my car, right? It's just going to flutter and give up, right? Because you have overtaken the fuel tank. Our body is that magnificent creature who can adjust on both ends of the spectrum. Abundance or complete deprivation. That's how God made this human body. Ke whether we have surplus or we have famines, the body is a survivor.
Right.
But because our body is a survivor, this is what we do to it, right? We abuse it, right? But if, say for example, I overate anything beyond my need and my body would just stop, that would be a signal to say, oh, so what are you doing? The battery is charged. How much are you going to charge it? But our bodies don't work like that. They just keep storing and keep storing. But the idea here is to just create that awareness that whatever you put into your body, whether it's Diwali time or it's not, it counts. Because food is information. Okay? And in today's time and age, we know the value of information, right? Yeah. Every bite is information. Do you want to give your body this information just because it tastes so good on your tongue? Just because everyone else is doing it, so it's okay to do it. Imagine if at a wedding, instead of getting ready and putting makeup and looking prettier, everyone put kerosene or phenyl on their face, but everyone was doing it, so even I would do it. When you overeat foods or you eat foods that are not something that your body wants, but something that your tongue wants, you're literally having the same effect in your body from inside. You're increasing inflammation, you're increasing fat storage, you're increasing visceral fat, you're increasing lipid peroxidation, and all of that is what is leading to that scar because of this kerosene. But just because everyone's doing it, is it okay to do it? Yeah. We have to think about every bite is information. And I wish calories eaten at a wedding would go to the दूल्हा दुल्हन. Then it would be worth it. Because शादी उनकी है, नुकसान उनका होना चाहिए, हमारा नहीं. But I'm sorry, उस बीच में, to do justice to that plate, free food in front of me, if I am going to harm my body. See, what we have to realize is when we look at food, we have to say that this is the love that I want to give my body. And I must love myself to self-heal, to self-take care, to nurture.
But what if that शादी का खाना is that acquaintance friend?
Yeah, no, acquaintance friends, so तो acquaintance से क्या पूरा रात बैठ जाओगे?
Right.
थोड़ा सा खाओगे ना? You know, like, for example, you know, there's so many times that people will see my plate and they'll be like, Pooja, do you have to eat like this? Okay, like, can you not sometimes take something that is not right? Do you have to all the time eat right? See, that's the narrative we have to change. Nobody has to. I want to.
For the most part.
I want to. Yeah, I want to take care of what I'm putting into my body because I want to be the boss of my body. I don't want to hand over my reins to a diabetologist or a cardiologist or a nutritionist to tell me later in life that this is what I did wrong. And it's not that I never eat something wrong, okay? But majority of the time, I will give my body what my body wants.
So let me get this.
And minority would be what my tongue wants. I'm not saying never eat what your tongue wants. It's an 80-20 rule, I would say. Okay. 80% of the time, give the body what the body wants. Maybe your tongue doesn't like it. Sometimes, 20% of the time, have fun as well.
Yeah. So let me get this right. What you're saying is that Shadi ka season goes on for so long in India that it's not then that, acha, it's just that one time that I'm having Shadi ka khana or bahar ka. It's more about it becomes a bit of a lifestyle for us, which is something we want to, you know, be a little more sensible about in that sense.
Like also how you said, na, darling, abhi jo bhi karungi, shadi ke baad karungi. No, so it's that all or nothing. If I do, then I'll take care of my water and my exercise and my oil and my balanced meals and the no sugar. Oh, now I'm going to do nothing till the 1st of Jan. That's where we're going wrong. I want to go out at the wedding. I want to enjoy a little bit, but I have been good with my meals from breakfast till evening. I did my exercise. I hydrated myself. I've given my body what my body wants. Now in the night, I'll do a tad bit of badmashi, enjoy a little bit of gulab jamun, have a little kulfi at the wedding. Because the rest of the day, I was good. I did give my body good information as well. Right? Now a little naughty information can be done. So what we have to realize is that don't be with this all or nothing attitude. Whatever I do, I will do from the 1st of Jan. No. Why? Your body is yours to love even on the 20th of December. Right? So do a little bit of love and a little bit of naughtiness. Yeah.
Amazing. And speaking about Shadi ka season, alcohol. How does one drink sensibly?
I think this is an oxymoron in itself. Alcohol and sensible don't go together, okay? Because alcohol is not sensible. I wish I had a hack to say, put water in your vodka, then it's fine. You know, everyone will be like, oh, you know, I gave up the mixers and, you know, I drink only white alcohol and not yellow alcohol and I drink only, I don't know. There are lots of things, but alcohol at the end of the day is poison. Okay, there's no sensible way to drink alcohol. I know this is where I lose a lot of love from my followers because I'm not going to tell you that a tequila is better than gin. But to think about it, what happens to us with alcohol? Okay, we lose balance. We start slurring. We say things we don't want to say. We do things we don't usually would do, like dance on a table. So what is alcohol doing to you? If tomorrow I started slurring in the middle of our conversation, what will you do to me? You'll be like, dude, maybe she's having a stroke. Take her to the hospital. Something's wrong. Alcohol is doing that something wrong to our brains and our bodies. But for some social acceptance, we think it's okay to drink. It's okay to intoxicate ourselves with a toxic. It's called intoxication because it is a bloody toxin. Okay, so Sorry, there is no smart answer you're getting from me here. Choose your poison and have as little of poison as
Like
possible.
nurse the drink till.
Nurse the drink,
Yeah.
cheat the crowd.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, so I'm caught 90% of the time now that I'll roam with a glass with lots of ice and lemon and mint and cheers and act like I'm happy and high. But I'm just having water or soda. Now everyone knows, so everyone comes and sniffs my drinks and sips my drink. But I give my body what my body wants. And if I fancy a glass of wine, and I'm not saying I never drink, I will. But I drink the wine, not the wine drinking me.
Amazing. Wow. And alcohol, I think one repercussion of alcohol that someone will feel almost immediately would be tummy issues, right? Gut health. Segueing into gut health, how it is a buzzword for sure, but how much water does this whole gut health argument hold scientifically, number one? And number two, what are the things we want to do to take care of our gut health, aside from, of course, not going crazy with the alcohol?
So gut health has become the hot word for sure, but not for the wrong reasons, right? Our gut microbiome has about 300 trillion microorganisms. Okay, so we have far more bacteria. So I read somewhere that we are only 10% cells are human, versus 90% of the cells in our body are bacteria. So we are only 10% human. So yes, taking care of your gut health is something that needs to be focused on, and it shouldn't be ignored. And we have to have a diverse microbiome, because your gut microbiome is literally like those little elves that are working in Santa's factory, doing all the job, getting no credit, right? Santa gets all the credit, but the elves do the job. We get the credit, but our gut microbiome is doing the job of absorbing the vitamins and the nutrition and activating the inactive form of the vitamin to the active form of the vitamin. We make our tryptophan, we convert it to serotonin. Our gut microbiome converts it to the serotonin, and then we have the melatonin, and then we have our happy hormones, and then so everything my body needs, my gut can make. We literally have a pharmaceutical industry sitting in our gut if we give the gut microbiome the right fodder or the right prebiotic. That's another buzzword, right? So all your gut microbiome is your probiotic. The bacteria is called the probiotic. The food this bacteria or these organisms need is called the prebiotic. So it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be in a pill, it doesn't have to be in a sachet. Just fruits and vegetables are prebiotics to your probiotics, so enjoy them. So if you keep a diversity in your plate, you will have a diversity in your gut microbiome. I'm told the gut microbiome has to be imagined like the Amazon rainforest, right? So where we have little shrubs and bushes and tall trees and insects and giraffes and elephants and Kida, Makoda, everything that makes the Amazon forest. So we need that diversity. The diversity in your gut microbiome comes from your plate. So the more diverse your khana on the plate is, the more gut microbiome you have diversity. And with that, there are the good bacteria in your tummy and the bad bacteria as well. And when we eat too much of junk and processed and ready-to-eat foods, we are feeding more of the bad gut microbiome versus the good. So the balance between the good and the bad has to be very intelligently skewed. And if we just stick to our roots of eating ghar ka khana, eating freshly cooked khana, eating a balanced plate with fiber and proteins and carbs, we are going to be feeding our gut microbiome automatically, and this magnificent body will do the job automatically, and we are not going to need all the
Powders and
all the so-called health aisles that are in supermarkets.
So that's the thing, right? When it comes to especially gut health, sometimes just keeping it simple, going back to ghar ka khana, not very, very oily food or very spicy food, just keeping it simple, not getting involved so much with, oh, I have to have X supplement and Y supplement, can just do the job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sticking to your home food, like how your grandparents ate, can just do the job. Picking up local produce, local fruits, creating a mix. Basically, what many tend to do is, oh, I'm on a health regime. I eat the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've been doing that for like 6 months. No. You get bored. Okay, humans like variety, and our palate is a good way to tickle that variety. Now, many people think healthy food has to be boring. I'm sorry, but healthy food can be gorgeously tasty. You just have to invest a little bit more love and time to make it. And a variety is important to keep the spice, right? We want to be able to look forward to meals. See, whatever said and done, okay? Food binds us. Food bonds with us. Food gives us that joy, okay? A cup of garam soup in thandi ka mausam gives you that warmth to your heart, right?
Yeah.
That's what food is. At the end of the day, food does give us joy. So we must not take that away from food. We can't say, oh, we'll eat boring food just because Pooja said it has to be healthy, it has to be healthy. And there's no joy left in you looking forward to your meals. You must look forward to your meals. And you can eat right and still look forward to your meals and make healthy meals and enjoy the love that food gives you. Or the joy love brings, food brings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, someone will cook for you, your dadima will, hand se khilao you. That is the love. And if you're going to be like, oh, I don't eat this is not in my diet, this is not what I'm going to eat, that's not life. There has to be information, of course, but also the joy of eating.
And I think you've summed this up, and I think our entire podcast so well, because our conversations are about being sensible, almost de-influencing you when it's coming, because it's, at the end of the day, it's going back to your roots, or just going back to simple eating that will do the job, that will bring in the variety. In the week, if you're having different sabzis, you're helping your gut microbiota, you're helping, different vitamins, minerals, everything. Yeah. And this was such a lovely, lovely, lovely conversation, Pooja. Thank you so much, Pooja, for coming here and sharing your beautiful nuggets of wisdom with us. I loved all the analogies and the metaphors. Just to sum up everything that we spoke about right from your journey, what inspired you to start off with nutrition. We spoke about Shadi Ka Khana, spoke about how food can be your friend and some can be your acquaintances. Amazing analogies in there. Ended with gut health, gut microbiome, and basically spoke about how we can just keep it simple and keep it classy.
Yeah, thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Is there anything you would like to tell our BergCast listeners?
Well, I'm going to just say, learn to listen to yourself. Because no nutritionist, no doctor, no book, no trend, no influencer knows your body the way you know you. And you have to learn to listen to you. What suits you, what doesn't suit you, how your body digests food. Listen to the cues your body is giving you, because our body is constantly talking to us. But we are just so preoccupied and so lost in listening to everybody else and listening to our smartphones that we have forgotten to listen to the signs our body is giving us. It's giving us tiny beeps of when it needs a little bit of help, whether it's hair fall or gas or mood swings or irritation. These are not normal. These are tiny beeps.
Yeah.
But when you stop listening to the beeps, then it becomes an alarm, and then you need a nutritionist or a professional to address them. So if you learn to listen to you, you'll be able to do justice to this body God gifted you. Treat it with love and treat it with the fact that this is the only body we are getting. Most of us are behaving like we have another spare kept in the closet that we're going to remove after a couple of years. We don't have another one. So love it, respect it, and take care of it.